Destruction hangs heavy in the air as KongZilla meets Heman for the first time. Two titans facing each other across a shattered city. The ground trembles under KongZilla's charge while Heman braces himself, metal frame humming with rising power. Smoke curls around broken towers as KongZilla closes in on Heman, each step announcing that this battle cannot be avoided. With a single explosive leap, KongZilla rushes toward Heman, turning the ruined highway into their personal arena. Heman's core flares to life, casting a cold blue glow over KongZilla's towering form as the first strike is unleashed. When flesh and steel collide, the shockwave from KongZilla and Heman tears through glass, stone, and steel alike. KongZilla's roar rolls across the skyline, but Heman stands unmoved, sensors locked onto every movement of the giant beast. A single punch from KongZilla dents Heman's armor, but behind the metal plates, new calculations are already rewriting the fight. Heman counters with a blast of focused energy, forcing KongZilla back and carving burning lines into the ruined concrete. Between rising flames and falling debris, KongZilla and Heman move like living disasters, reshaping the city with every clash. The battlefield shrinks to the space between KongZilla's fists and Heman's reinforced arms, where strength and precision collide. KongZilla tears through a cloud of dust and smoke, refusing to let Heman disappear behind the chaos he creates. Heman adapts to every blow, turning each punch from KongZilla into data that sharpens his next counterattack. Streetlights flicker and fail as KongZilla hurls Heman through a row of abandoned cars, twisting metal into scrap. With a burst from his boosters, Heman rises from the wreckage, refusing to let KongZilla control the ground beneath them. As they meet again in mid-air, KongZilla's raw power and Heman's engineered force fuse into one colossal impact. Broken windows rain down like glass confetti as KongZilla and Heman crash into a half-collapsed building. Within the crumbling structure, KongZilla's silhouette looms over Heman, but the robot's eyes still burn with focused light. Heman's next strike sends both giants tumbling back out into the open, shattering concrete as they hit the ground. The ruined city becomes silent for a moment, right before KongZilla and Heman rise once more, refusing to fall. KongZilla drags a twisted steel beam behind him, turning the scraps of the city into a weapon aimed straight at Heman. Heman's shield flickers into existence just in time, sending sparks outward as KongZilla's improvised weapon crashes against it. Fury and programming collide as KongZilla pounds the shield, and Heman holds the line, neither willing to give an inch. Rain begins to fall, hissing as it hits scorched concrete and the overheated armor of Heman standing against KongZilla. Lightning splits the sky above the two giants, framing KongZilla's rage and Heman's resolve in a single blinding flash. KongZilla surges forward through the storm, his wet fur plastered to his muscles as he lunges at Heman again. Heman uses the slippery ground to his advantage, sidestepping and redirecting KongZilla's momentum with cold precision. The cracked highway buckles as KongZilla slams into the ground, but he pushes himself up, eyes still locked on Heman. Every breath from KongZilla is a growl. Every step from Heman is a calculated move in a battle that neither can afford to lose. A distant siren falters and dies as the power grid fails, leaving only the glow of Heman's core and the firelight around KongZilla. In the dim, flickering radiance, KongZilla charges again, a living shadow driven by instinct and fury. Heman's targeting lines scan across KongZilla's chest and arms, looking for the one perfect strike that could end it. When KongZilla's fist crashes into Heman's chest, the impact lights the core from within, like a blazing star. The explosion of energy sends both giants sliding backward, carving new scars into the already broken streets. KongZilla shakes off the blast and answers with a roar that vibrates through Heman's metal frame. Systems strain as Heman recalibrates his stance, refusing to let the echo of KongZilla's fury shake his resolve. A collapsed bridge becomes their next battleground, its fractured span barely holding under the weight of KongZilla and Heman. As they clash on the fragile structure, Every stomp from KongZilla and every step from Heman threatens to shatter it completely. Chunks of concrete fall into the churning water below as KongZilla and Heman wrestle for control atop the doomed bridge. With one final surge of force, the bridge gives way, and both titans plunge into the chaos beneath. Water explodes upward as KongZilla breaks the surface, dragging Heman back into the open air once more. Heman's systems drain the water from his joints as he lands hard on the riverbank, ready to meet KongZilla again. On the muddy shore, strength and circuitry meet once more as KongZilla and Heman renew their brutal dance. The world beyond the ruined city watches in fear, but here, only KongZilla and Heman matter. The sky dims as smoke and storm clouds merge, a dark ceiling over the unending clash of beast and machine. KongZilla swings a fallen streetlight like a club, turning the remnants of civilization into one more tool against Heman. Heman responds by anchoring himself with buried metal spikes, refusing to be moved as KongZilla's strikes rain down. Sparks leap from every point of impact, painting brief constellations between KongZilla's strength and Heman's unyielding guard. When the dust clears again, neither titan has yielded. Both KongZilla and Heman still stand, battered but unbroken. KongZilla's chest heaves with every breath, carrying the weight of the wild, while Heman's core pulses steadily with artificial life. Side by side in a single frame, KongZilla and Heman look less like enemies and more like two forces of nature colliding. Yet as the battle continues, it is clear that only one of them can walk away from the ruins they have created. KongZilla charges once more, refusing to let exhaustion slow him as he throws himself back into the fray with Heman. Heman's final protocols awaken, unlocking power reserves meant only for the most desperate of battles. The air hums with energy as Heman meets KongZilla head-on, their clash lighting up the ruins like a storm born from steel and fury. For a heartbeat, everything goes silent as KongZilla and Heman press against each other, each trying to overpower the other. Then the world explodes back into motion as the earth beneath them buckles and splits open under the strain. KongZilla regains his footing first, using the broken terrain as leverage to force Heman back toward the edge. Heman responds by launching himself forward, turning the collapsing ground into a ramp toward KongZilla. Both giants crash together in mid-motion, creating a shockwave that ripples through the dust-filled air. The ruins around them blur into insignificance as KongZilla and Heman become the only focus, the only movement that matters. Every punch, every block, every staggered step tells the story of two titans who refuse to surrender. KongZilla's knuckles drip with scraped metal dust, while Heman's armor is etched with claw marks that no repair can erase. Still, neither backs down, drawn together again and again by pure willpower and unbreakable purpose. The closer their fight gets to the heart of the ruined city, the more the skyline bears the scars of KongZilla versus Heman. In broken reflections on shattered glass, the figures of KongZilla and Heman flicker like ghosts locked in eternal combat. The ground beneath them becomes a mosaic of craters, trenches, and scorch marks, each one a memory of impact. And yet, even surrounded by ruin, KongZilla stands tall, as if the chaos itself fuels his strength. Heman, though battered, still moves with the relentless precision of a machine that understands only its mission. With every second, the line between monster and guardian blurs for both KongZilla and Heman. To the world watching, it is impossible to tell which titan is the villain and which is the savior. As a tower finally gives way behind them, KongZilla and Heman barely glance at it, too consumed by their struggle. The slow collapse of the skyline becomes the backdrop to their final desperate efforts to overpower one another. KongZilla's roar cuts through the sound of twisting steel, a primal declaration that he will not be caged or controlled. Heman's engines answer with a rising whine, a mechanical vow that he will complete the fight he was built for. The sky grows darker, but the battlefield grows brighter with every clash between KongZilla and Heman. Firelight paints KongZilla's fur in shades of orange and red, while Heman glows like a fragment of the stars. In that fiery glow, their differences fade, leaving only two colossal silhouettes locked in struggle. Each new impact sends echoes rolling through the empty streets, a drumbeat to the rhythm of their war. Somewhere far away, the world wonders how this battle will end. But here, only KongZilla and Heman can decide. KongZilla lunges with everything he has left, a final gamble of muscle, rage, and raw determination. Heman meets him with his last reserves of power, systems straining as every circuit focuses on this one moment. As they collide once more, the force of KongZilla and Heman's final clash seems to shake not just the city, but the sky itself. For a moment, they stand locked together, neither moving, neither giving in, the world holding its breath around them. Then, the dust rises, swallowing KongZilla and Heman in a rolling cloud that hides the outcome from distant eyes. In that swirling haze, only the echoes of their struggle remain, the legacy of a battle too big for any one city to hold. When the smoke finally clears, the scars of KongZilla and Heman's war will remain etched into the earth forever. And whether beast or machine stands at the end, the story of KongZilla versus Heman will be told as the day two titans nearly broke the world. Long after the fires die and the dust settles, the legend of KongZilla and Heman's colossal battle will still thunder in the memories of those who survived. In the end, it is not just a fight between monster and machine, but a clash between instinct and design, rage and logic, etched forever in broken stone. Whatever remains of the city, one truth will stand unshaken. On this day, KongZilla and Heman proved that even titans can be pushed to their limits. As the last echoes fade, the world will remember how KongZilla and Heman turned a city into a monument of their unstoppable power. Even in silence, the battlefield will speak of them, every crack and crater whispering the same name: KongZilla versus Heman. Though the fight ends, the shadow of KongZilla and Heman will stretch far into the future, a reminder of the day the earth shook under their feet. In every story retold, in every whispered legend, the clash of KongZilla and Heman will live on as the greatest battle the world has ever seen. From the first roar to the final blow, KongZilla and Heman carved their struggle into history with every devastating strike. No wall was strong enough, no tower tall enough to stand untouched between KongZilla and Heman's relentless fury. Wherever they stepped, the ground still seems to tremble, as if remembering the footprints of KongZilla and Heman. For those who saw it, the sight of KongZilla and Heman locked in combat will remain more vivid than any nightmare. And somewhere beyond the dust and silence, the world wonders if KongZilla and Heman will ever meet again.